Oh, you're back. Yes, you're back in the hangar. Unfortunately, I'm getting withdrawals. Yes, I'm getting withdrawals from not flying. Yeah, I'm not Port Heckles this week. I had some bits and pieces to do. The car had to go in for its service, and it has to do that, otherwise it'll blow up. So, you know, sometimes you just can't fly. So we've been tinkering in the hangar. Yes, I have. Quite a few hours have just disappeared while you're sitting there waiting for the car to be done and all that sort of thing. So I thought, well, let's have a look to see what we're doing at the Spitfire, and maybe we'll do a few bits and pieces, like some soldering and some drilling and some stuff. So let's get on with it, shall we? And go to the overhead cam. Welcome to the up close and personal camera shot. Yes, it's the camera above the plane. Yes, the Spitfire, yes, back in the place. So what we've done some bits and pieces. I mean, today was meant to be sort of doing other bits and pieces in it. I forgot I had to take my car to have a service. Yes, and that took up most of the morning, so there you go. I'm getting withdrawals from not flying with Paul Heckles, but we're back in the place next Friday. But it's quite lucky, really, because it was absolutely teeming down today. But it's a bit weird weather out there. Anyway, so what have I done here? I've put the actual nitro pipes on in. Now, I've got to do this with a couple of other planes, like the Boomerang, because this is actually a tank for fuel, for normal fuel, not nitro, for gasoline, not gasoline, I don't know, fuel. Petrol, that's the word I was looking for. But you can still use it for nitro, it doesn't matter. But you normally get the yellow pipes that you get with this. In fact, I've got a piece over here. This is the yellow pipe. This is basically for petrol, not for nitro. If you use it for nitro, it goes hard and it's not good. So, yes. Now, in a proper Spitfire, scale Spitfire, should I say, the fuel for the tank, it sits there. If I can get my fingers out of the way so you can actually see, sits here. So I might put it on the hatch, I might just leave it under there, I don't know, I haven't decided yet. So it's a bit scale if it does. If not, I'm not too bothered, because I like to see how many fuel's going into the tank anyway. So behind here I've made a piece of timber. It's actually, I think it's about 3mm ply. We put both the switches in here, which are the JR switches, which one will turn on the igniter, the ignition, and one will turn on the receiver in the aeroplane. We've got two XT30s here. Now, I did want them chassis mounted, but I couldn't find XT30s that are chassis mounted, so they fit in the timber. So I've done a bit of jiggery pokey, and they're solid. Now these are for the leg that comes off the switches, which is chargeable, so you can leave the batteries in here and charge the two batteries, which is fine, absolutely fine. Now there is a bit of balsa, there's kind of bit of balsa wood there, just for extra safety. These don't move. They're nice and snug fit, which I'm really happy about, but just in case, you know, sort of things wobble about in bits and pieces, I'll just put that just under there, just to keep it all safe and lovely-dovely. It does all fit at the back, like so. Okay, so we'll move along. Now, I don't know if I can see this, but all the cables will be going to the receiver. The receiver is going to be this bit of lightweight balsa, and it's going to be, once I do something, I'll show you in a minute. Yes, there's not going to go all the way down there. Oh, golly gosh. Anyway, this is what happens when you do things on camera. Yeah, I'm going to have to try and get the purple screwdriver. Yes, the purple screwdriver. There we go. And then I can get my chubby checkers in there. Ah, there we go. So let's try that again, shall we? This will sit on the back bits of timber. If I can put that in there, lovely straight. Now I can sort of either glue it. Or I will put another piece of timber here and then use the screws, the hex screws that I used on the back here. So these two have got a little bit of timber inside that just screws down to hold it in. This will have the receiver, so I'm putting the receiver in here, and then, which is the R10 Pro, and it will be sitting like that, well, obviously straight, and then we can use the dipoles to sort of like vertical and horizontal. And then everything will be coming out, which we're only using one. It has the dual backup supply power, but we're only using one power in here because I'm using another power going into the igniter, which is our automatic igniter from Prolux, which is one of these. And you're saying, where is this going to live? Well, if you can see behind me, if you could just see in there without dropping the aeroplane, there's another bit of Velcro in there. Well, that's where she's going to sit. Now I'm going to 3D print some covers, so when you look through the windows it's going to look like some luggage or something. But this will sit, it's got a little Velcro there, this will sit in here and the wires will all go to everywhere that I want to, and all nice and neat. This is the little bits and pieces that take the time, and I can't, you know, well I can video them I suppose, but I don't know, never get the time because I'm always fiddling about. Now fiddling about is this. Now this here sits at the front there, and yes, I did break it. There's a little this is the sighting when you're flying, so you can sight the enemy, and I took off the bit of plastic that goes on here that I'll put back on here. Unfortunately it did break. I'm pretty cheesed at that, if I can just show you that. So, but it's not going to matter too much because it's got that edge there that I can glue back on. This is me in black. Now what I've done is I've put the LED in here, and there's a white LED, and I've made a small hole. If we can just show you in here. So make some small hole which the cables will go next door, just under here, and then this can stick back on here like so, and you wouldn't even know there is any cables or anything there, which I'm really happy about. It's nice the way I've done it. I just drilled out the middle and then drilled out the side. You can just see that this is not the best. I hope I'm in focus because I'll be upset otherwise. Now why you say Chris, well why have you done that? Well the target will light up. Now the reason is because when you press this switch on here, obviously you've seen it in the boomerang, this red LED is not great to see if it's on unless it's in a place that you don't, you know, you'd see it. So I thought, well, what we'll do is that we'll just put a nice white LED in. It's a bright white LED. I think it's about 6 volts. It's got a little resistor on the end, or inside, sorry, on the positive leg. And then where it's going to be on this screen, I'm going to cut a little hex there on the little round target screen. So when you're sitting in front and you're about to fire the engine up, you'll see that lit up and know that you've got power to the igniter, because it turns on and it turns off after, I don't know, about 10 seconds I think it is, that stops giving power to both legs. So that will be for that. In fact, we'll test this in a minute before we start sticking LEDs in and God knows what else. Okay, we'll test it on the power. The switch, I haven't figured out where I'm going to have the switch yet, because you do stand in front of the plane. I don't know, I could put it, I'm thinking of putting the switch down here just to press the button, and then obviously you'll see the light up here, and then you can turn the engine over and it hopefully should start. So I have got to extend some these cables, which is fine, and I'll also probably, maybe, I don't know, I still and ahhing about what to do with the switch, because I don't want to have the cap off when I'm starting the prop. I'm not a great fan of it. Once the prop is started, I don't want to be anywhere near the end of the plane. It's just me. Some people don't mind, they can move stuff and put stuff on, but I do not want to be anywhere near that. I want to be standing up after she started and getting ready to take off. Some of you don't mind, but I do. Right, let's turn her over. Show her belly. Yes, I mean, it's what today is a bit of a tech day. So some people like it, some people don't. It's a bit like Marmite. Now, it's a pain in the bum about, as you can see, I don't know if I've shown you this before, I did cut this down to get the wing down a bit, and it seems to fit a bit better, but not that great. But the trouble is that this keeps pulling away, look. So I'm trying to stick it down and wait until I'm ready, and then we'll stick it down with some glue. But a bit of a pain in the butt to put it on, so this is why I got this on this like foam. Right, so all these cables are bits and pieces, they will be extended. These are from the servos. I'm not going to get all technical and cut them down, solder them, God knows what else. They're just a small extension, and they will go along the bottom there. I will have a little tab in there, which I haven't got handy. In fact, I might have one stuck to a bag I have, yes. So here's like, on the back of this bag, can you see this? It's called a, oh there you go, I thought it was stuck, it's not. It's a little bit stuck. These are called saddles. You can pick these up from, I don't know if you can get them from Amazon or whatever, but basically you've got like 2 ways of putting cable ties. So what will happen is that I will put that down inside somewhere like this, if I can get it in there. If you can see, can you see? You can see, there you go. So what I'll do is that I'll put down a cable tie, a couple of saddles, and then the cables from here will go along, and the power cable that goes, I've got to run some cables up through here, so along here all the way to the front, and then basically I've drilled a hole into there, somewhere around here. There is a hole, trust me, there's a hole up there that the power cables can go for, which are the extensions for these. So that can go that way, and then that will go down through the back, and then on the other side they'll come up through here. If I get it shot, it would help. They'll come up through here, behind here, and into the receiver. Now cables are fine here. You know, there's nothing to touch there. There's pipes and everything else there, which I'm quite happy about. Now the actual wing, if you remember, I told you that the cables from the wing come out here. Totally crazy, considering you've got all the mechanicals all going in left, right and centre, up and down. So what I've done is that basically it will go back to the back here and then drop down in between these the rod covers, or the rod tubes. So she'll be fitted down there. What I'm going to do as well is I'll probably put another piece of timber across here so the cables can't fall back. They'll just go through under and straight into the receiver. So this is what I've been playing about with in between flying on a Friday, because obviously, you know, I don't get a lot of time in the week at the moment. It's all a bit crazy. So there you go. I mean, that's what I've been doing to the Spitfire. This is what I call fiddling about, getting things how I want them. So so I don't have to take out the battery to charge them. I can charge them as long as I'm around in here. Making sure the cable's all going lovely, so there's nothing in the way. And obviously then we'll check out the CG, hence why I wanted to put the batteries quite far back, but there wasn't any space in here, and I didn't want to put anything else in the cockpit because my man will come eventually. I have got to do other bits and pieces. I mean, if you've been following the flight of the Boomerang, so I've got a bit of maintenance to do. I mean, this is the front wheel. Yes, that's not very straight anymore, is it? Yes, we got to take that, and I think there is one. This so need space. And here, let's see if I can show you the. There you go. I don't know if you can just see the sort of bend there. Bit of rough landings, as you can see. Did I tell you about my purple screwdriver? Yes, well, you know, I am learning. You know, I'm getting a bit tired these days. Stop all that, stop all that. Right, so let's just move that to one side. In fact, I think what we'll do, we'll go down to the normal cam. Alrighty, we are on the close-up cam, but we're on the iPhone cam. Yes, I thought, well, why not? I'll show you my bit of soldering skills, and they're not by any means how to solder, but it's how I solder. We've got a new soldering iron. Look at this bad boy. Time to get things hot. So hopefully that'll turn on. And what was it? Normally about 170 should be nice. Don't forget, always wet your pad. You can't see it because the helping hands are in the way, but wet your pad, and of course you've got your solder. That's always good to do. And it even comes with a really solder thing, which I think is really cool. Right, so I've actually brought the cables through. It was a bit, I stopped because it was taking too much time. So now I cut the actual big ones off. Now, these are great. Look at this. Look. So you can push this so you can get exactly, if I can do it. It's probably stuck. It's been in so many years. There we go. You can push this. This is so old. So you can measure the amount exactly what you want off. So we want a bit more than that off. So we'll probably put it there, and then clip. In fact, it's probably a bit too much. Messing about that much. See there, and look at that. Awesome. Absolutely love it. And then you'll know that this one will be the same. There you go, except it's a different colour. So we've got our cables, but as you see, it's okay, they're different colours, but they are the same AWG, which is the width of bits and pieces. Now, always make sure that I've done mistakes before, that you put your sleeving of heat shrink like I did before. I put the red on the black and the black on the red and didn't see, and yeah, not good. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to splice these together and roll them. Now I like to do it this way. Many people do it different ways. You can, but this is how I do it. This is my way of doing things. It works. It does the business. And there you go. Now also what I like to, you don't need to, but I just do like this I forgot what it's called now. Good gosh. Flux, solder flux. Because I've touched it with my fingers. The grease on your fingers can sometimes affect the actual solder itself. So I'll just roll a bit with my finger and Bob's your uncle. So let's do a bit of soldering, shall we? Look at this, first time you've seen me solder. Normally it's off camera. So just remember to heat up and then feed the solder to the actual cable. So let's see if I can get this going on. Come on. Slowly you can see that the solder's adhering. There you go. Wipe it on the little pad that's wet. And there you go, one soldered cable. That's not bad, is it? That's pretty, I'm happy with that. Look at that. So now it's solid there. So then we're ready to put that heat shrink on. So let's just do this way. As I say, you know, many people can just wind it and then just do it that way, but I just prefer to do it this way. I've always done it this way. I don't know why. Is it wrong? Is it right? I don't know. Leave it in the comments. I mean, the boomerang's been soldered this way and that's been flying, so you know, can't be that bad, can it? As long as the two ends meet and you strip off exactly the same cable at both ends, then you kind of get the middle, if you know what I mean. And then once again, I'm going to get a bit of flux. I mean, there's lots of flux in your solder, but I just like to put that bit extra because when you touch it with your fingers, as I say, it you can stop it from adhering and all sorts of weird stuff and get dry solder joints and everything else. So let's just push this to, oh look at that, beautiful, beautiful. Wipe it. Now also just a note for solder, people are not really soldered that much. See, I've got a lovely shiny solder joint there, lovely and shiny. That's what you want it to be. If you get a dull solder joint, it looks like it's connected, and it is connected, but not so much on cable to cable, but if you're soldering to a tab or something like that, and it's not, it's the connectivity is not there. It does it weird. I mean, I got brought up like that. My father, bless his heart, he told me how to do that. He said, you know, and because he soldered all the time. But there, that's how I learned how to solder anyway. So I'm happy with that. That 470, and that was really nice. So I'm going to just stick that little solder station in there. I do like that. It's nice. So I've got my sort of hair dryer, which is basically a hot air gun. I support it a hair dryer because it sounds like one. And then just with the heat shrink, don't get too close, don't get too mad, don't rush it, and slowly they'll shrink by the heat, hence the name heat shrink. Yes, there you go, look at that, lovely. And that is my connection sorted. So now when I bring the cable back, you can't see that, see if I just bring that, you see the cable going through there, you see the little green heat shrink, which I can heat shrink, so that goes all the way through. So basically I want to pull this through as much as I can, or much as I want to. Just there, I want the connections on the other side, so that's where it's going to stop. And then I want to bring this, I'll just move that around on the iPhone cam. Just want to bring that up. Bring it up, he says, bring it up. This is why I didn't heat shrink it first of all, because I want it in a certain place. There, that's where I want it. And I should be able to bring this through. In fact, it's just got stuck there, so bring that through the holes. I have to sort it because it's all under there. See it? It's all under there. But I will do that off camera. But basically, once it's done there, I'm going to heat that up, and then I'm just going to put it down there, and I'm going to put a bit of CA glue just to stop it moving. So if we come now to the front, let me move you over here. Can we go down low? How low can you go? There you go. Boom, boom. And there's the connections. I want them to stay there. So let me zoom out. Oh, zoom in, zoom out. We're zooming everywhere. Helping hands, one of the greatest things ever. So there you can see that clips on, and that will go on there like so. That is our connection, and then the negative will go down onto the engine. Either I'll put a bolt on there, probably. I'll find out what nut that is. And that's it, connected. That is it. And then the nut wires are nicely out the way. They're out the way of the two exhausts. So if I can show you in there, let's get my purple screwdriver. We like the purple screwdriver. So as I say, I could put a bit of glue there, hot glue, just to stop it moving about. Don't need to, because it's quite happy. Because on here, I'm going to heat shrink this, and then stick that down a bit of CA just to keep it taut. and then it all comes along here and then out there, as you can see, and they'll all go through there, where if I turn this over very gently so it doesn't make them horrible noises, there you go, there's the cable run and dusted, and that will go, watch this stop going on there, that will go to these two, which means that's the output, so that's ready on that side. And as I say, we've got the LED that's run on that side, and the switch I've got to figure out what that is. But there you go, it's all looking really sexy. But as you can see, all these sort of jobs there, they take time, and I don't video them all. There's the little batteries, you see the little battery cells, on, off. They're not connected at the moment. The other ends of the batteries, as you can see back there, if you can just see back there, they will connect to the batteries, and then you won't need to disconnect the batteries because you just put the XT30s here and that will charge. So that's about time. Yes, that's all we got time for today. Just a little snippet today. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of time, but you can see what I've been doing with the Spitfire in my little bits of time that I do have. Yes, I could make time, as people say, but I have been doing some sim work, and even though sort of I've been doing more than 20 minutes, you know, a day, or try to, it takes time. It does, and your time just goes like that. The clock doesn't stop for anybody, remember that. Unless you've got a big magnet, maybe it'll slow time down. Big magnets. Anyway, without further ado, listen, next week we are back flying with Paul Heckles, weather permitting. I'm going to carry on with the Spitfire and do bits and pieces. As I say, we're still going to cut wires and join wires and bits and pieces, but you can see what I've been doing and see, you know, how fiddly, well, not how fiddly, but how time consuming it can be. But that's all good. It's all good because I actually love tinkering. You know, maybe, I mean, put down in the comments, I mean, do you want me to do a live and just have a couple of cameras and just me tinker on and rabbit on, and you know, you could turn around and say, Chris, that is the wrong way of doing things. Because we could do that. As I say, we're waiting for Hangar V2. It's moving forward a bit. Oh yes, 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 yes. We come up with a plan. Found a company with a big one. It's about 20 foot, I think, 20 foot by 10 foot, something like that. We're just working around the footings and everything else with my good friend Steve to see what we can do. But yeah, so that will come. So then I'll have the space for the presentation and bits and pieces. We have a bit of a surprise thing coming up for you in a week's time, on 14th, I believe it is. But I'm not going to say anything until then. I'll be told not to. It's exciting. Well, I'm excited anyway, but you'll soon see what it's all about. So if you can get out flying, go and fly. But be safe, keep safe, and listen, thanks for popping by. I really, really appreciate it. See you now. Ta-da.